Today, we're diving into the blueprint for the world's largest democracy, the Constitution of India. Now, this is way more than just a dry legal document. It's the very foundation that lays out the rights, the duties, and the entire system of government for over 1 billion people. So let's get right into it. 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days. Just let that sink in for a second. That's not just a random span of time, it's a powerful symbol of the incredible effort, the intense debates, and the pure dedication that went into writing this thing. This was no rush job. It was a marathon of building a nation from the ground up.
So how on earth did they pull off such a massive task, especially right after the chaos of independence? Well, that's exactly what we're going to look at in our first section, how this incredible rulebook for a brand new nation was crafted.
This timeline really maps out the whole journey. It all kicked off in 1946 with something called the Cabinet Mission Plan. The first big meeting of the Constituent Assembly happened that December. And get this, just 2 days later, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected its permanent president. Fast forward a few years of hard work to November 1949, when the Constitution was officially adopted. And finally, on January 26, 1950, it came into full force, the day India officially became a republic.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. We're talking about the longest written constitution on the entire planet. The people who wrote it were smart. They didn't try to reinvent the wheel. They took the basic administrative structure from the Old Government of India Act of 1935, and then they looked around the world. They borrowed ideas from 10 different countries, things like parliamentary government from the UK and fundamental rights from the US, and blended it all into something totally unique for India.
All right, so we've seen how the rulebook was made. Now let's get to its heart and soul. This next part is all about the core promises made to every single citizen, the fundamental rights.
So what exactly are fundamental rights? Well, the easiest way to think about them is like a protective shield. These are the absolute core rights that every citizen gets, no questions asked. They're there to help you grow as a person and, just as importantly, to protect you from the government ever getting too powerful. They're basically the bedrock of democracy in India.
And this slide? It shows something absolutely crucial. The Constitution isn't stuck in the past. Originally, there were 7 fundamental rights, and one of them was the right to property. But over time, things changed. The 44th Amendment moved the right to property out of this special category and made it a regular legal right. This brought the countdown to the 6 we have today, and it's a perfect example of how the Constitution can evolve with the country. And here they are, the 6 pillars of freedom for every citizen. You've got the right to equality, the right to freedom, the right against exploitation, the right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, and then this last one, the right to constitutional remedies, which is super important. It basically means you have the right to go to court if any of your other rights are violated. It's the one that makes all the others enforceable.
Okay, so we've covered the rights of the people, but how does the government itself actually function? This brings us to what you could call the engine room of the Constitution, the mechanics of how the country is run according to the rules. So, at the very heart of the system for making laws is the Indian Parliament. But it's not just one single thing. You can think of it as a team of 3. You have the president, who is the head of state, and then 2 different houses that work together to pass the nation's laws.
So let's break down those 2 houses. First up, you have the Lok Sabha, which means the House of the People. This is the lower house, and its members are directly elected by the public every 5 years. Pretty straightforward. Then you have the Rajya Sabha, or the Council of States. This is the upper house. It's a permanent body, and its members serve for 6 years. And notice the age difference too. You have to be at least 25 to get into the Lok Sabha, but 30 for the Rajya Sabha.
But here's the thing. Power isn't all held in one place. India is a federal country, which means power is shared. So let's take a look at how the Constitution neatly divides up the responsibilities between the central government, the union, and all the individual states.
This table explains the whole system perfectly. There are 3 lists that divide up the power. The union list is for big picture, national stuff that only the central government deals with, like defense and foreign affairs. The state list covers local issues that the states handle themselves, like police and agriculture. And then there's the concurrent list, which is for things where both the center and the states can make laws, like education and forests. It's a really clever way to divide the workload.
And all of this brings us to one of the most brilliant features of this document. It was never meant to be frozen in time. It was designed from day one to be a living, breathing thing that could adapt. So, our final section is all about how the Constitution was built to evolve. So, how does it actually change?
Well, there's a pretty tough amendment process. A proposal to change the Constitution can start in either House of Parliament, but, and this is a big but, it's deliberately hard to pass. It needs what's called a special majority, which means at least 2/3 of the members who are present and voting have to agree. This makes sure that any changes are serious and have widespread support, not just based on a temporary political whim.
And if you want a really simple, powerful visual of that evolution, just look at this. The Constitution uses things called schedules, which are basically just lists that organize government policies and administrative details. Back in 1950, there were 8 of them. Today, there are 12. It's a clear sign of a document that's been growing and adapting to the needs of a modern country.
So, after all of this, the rights, the structure, the checks and balances, the ability to evolve, it kind of brings us to one last big question. After all that incredible work, is having a perfect rulebook actually enough to run a nation successfully?
And maybe the best answer comes from this powerful quote from Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the main architect of the whole thing. He said, "However good a constitution may be, if those who are implementing it are not good, it will prove to be bad." It's a profound thought, isn't it? In the end, a constitution is just ink on paper. Its real power comes from the people and the leaders who promise to live by it every single day.